Thank you for watching Mature Living today. I'm Mary Yanez, Director of the Senior Adult Program. And as you know, we are advocates for seniors here in this community. Senior Adult Program, APS, and many other organizations that work with seniors. We're always trying to make life better for all of us. And as we age, including myself, not our guest.
Thank you, Mary.
We want to make sure that we have a safe community, that we have safe homes, that we think about those things that are important to all of us. So today we've invited Grace Ortiz, who's done a lot of research and has really come up with some wonderful livable domains. She's going to talk to us today about 4 of them, but we want you to stay tuned and come back to Mature Living to learn about the other 4. Thank you for being with us. Thank you.
Thank you
so
for inviting
great.
me, Miss Mary. You know, I think it's important that we start learning how to better ourselves. You know, as we see our communities getting more and more individuals who are older adults.
Yes.
And so we need to get our community to have the ability to have a better community and to age well in that community. So that's why I came by today to see if I could talk about the 8 domains of livability, but I'm only going to touch on 4 today.
Very good. Is Texas aging? I mean, what is the statistics?
So right now there's 10,000 people a day who are turning 65 across the nation. But by the year 2030, over 50% of Texas will have individuals over 65.
Yes.
And those baby boomers are aging, and so it's happening fast.
Yes.
My concern is, our service is going to be enough for those individuals who have reached that age of 65?
And maybe we may be behind. Maybe we may be behind in building safe, livable communities for older adults. One of the things that I think about as we start is that El Paso is such a great weather place for seniors to come and live.
So many people who have come, especially individuals who are part of the military, Fort Bliss, when they finally retire, where do they come back to? They come back to El Paso. We do have really great weather. They say we're a very, very friendly community. And I can tell you we're very unique. I work for the state of Texas, and I've gotten to travel across the state, but there's nothing like El Paso. And we're a very giving community. We're very friendly. We're very family-oriented. And so I think those are keys that make people come and want to live here.
Wonderful. And as advocates, we want to make sure that we tell our viewers and our general public, all ages, to advocate for our elders. Let's get started with
You
our
got it. So
8 domains. Tell me
the
about
first
them.
one is buildings and outdoor spaces. So I want you to think about how that would affect an older adult. As we get older, it's more difficult to get in and out of buildings if there's lots of steps. So we need to learn to modify our buildings, better walkways to get into them, accessible and available to our seniors, make sure there's railings. That's for buildings. And the older buildings, you know, think about ways that it's easier to get in for them. Don't make it hard for them, because guess what? If you have an event at an older building with lots of steps, they're not going to go.
Yes.
They're just not going to go. Outdoor spaces. We have wonderful weather and we really promote good health, but I've been thinking about it, and we have lots of parks where there's walkways, Album Park, Edgemere Park, Cielo Vista area, but are there benches along that walkway? So let's just say an older adult who's walking just says, you know, I need to take a break. I don't see those benches.
Yes.
I don't. We need to have more of those.
Yes. And you know, sometimes organizations sponsor those benches for the city. I walk my Sammy at the Cielo Vista Park behind the library, the Cisneros Library at Cielo Vista. And they do have parks. Benches. I'm sorry. They do have benches. And I do use them.
So you see, I just think that more parks should have them, and that should be a little more friendlier towards the older adult. And the other thing is picnic tables. You know, drive by Album Park. When you drive by on a Sunday, a Saturday, do you see an older adult with their family? And I rarely see that. Yes. And I'll tell you why. Because how do they get to that picnic table? how do they get there if they're on a wheelchair or a walker?
A path.
We need pathways to those picnic tables so that they can use them. So that was our first one, Miss Mary.
Oh my gosh, there's 3 more. Okay,
Three
go
more.
ahead.
Transportation. We all know that we want to drive and be able to drive where we need to get to, and that's okay. I'm okay. I'm all about independence. But we have to remember there has to be good crosswalks, number one. And number two, that's not the solution to everything as we get older. There may be a time where we may not be able to drive. So know that there's resources out there, Project Amistad, where they'll take you to and from your doctor's appointments.
Yes.
That's one. And the other thing is Uber and Lyft. That's become very popular. They're safe. I like them better than even a taxi because they're very prompt. Again, you're going to have to learn how to use your phone.
Exactly.
You're going to have to learn how to use your apps. And you can schedule a pickup and drop off to take you to the groceries, to the movies, to dinner. You don't want to go anywhere to pick up dinner. You just, not one of those days where you're up to it. You can even do DoorDash or Uber Eats and have your food
And so
delivered
we
to
offer
you.
classes to learn how to use those smartphones and how to
Exactly.
access these apps.
So it's not intimidating once you learn. And it's important that we continue to learn. And we're going to touch on that in a little bit.
Yes.
But
Yes.
something that's all about transportation.
I thought about a BFF, your best family and friend that can go with you the first times until you get used to using various types of transportation. So
Absolutely. I think that even if you have a mom and she's not sure, but she wants her independence, you can ride along with your mom or your BFF, your best friend or family, and go with you. And try to learn to be independent and be able to continue getting out. That's the whole key to transportation.
very
So
good.
the next one is housing, number 3.
Wow.
Housing, interesting. I'll tell you, we all want to grow old in our home.
Yes, we
None
do.
of us want to go to a nursing home. None of us want to go to a foster home.
Or
So-
to a family member's home, where they have their family, the kids, they have responsibilities, and you're there, and maybe you can't help as much. You just don't want to be a burden.
No, you don't. And and I totally understand that. So as we grow older, you need to modify your home. Modify your home to your needs. And so again, it's putting the grab bars in your bathroom. If you
Changing your shower to a walk-in.
Exactly. And so a lot of people will tell me, I can't afford to do that. That's really expensive. There's resources. Know your resources. If you're a veteran, there's resources so they can convert your tub to a shower. Adult protective services based on your diagnosis. If you're a dialysis patient, a cancer patient, you have severe arthritis, you have history of falls, maybe an agency can help you convert your tub to a shower to be safe.
So you can stay in your home longer.
I have told
Safer.
people, if you have carpet throughout your home, because at one time that was the in thing.
Yeah.
Well, you might need to get rid of it because it's hard to move with a carpet, with a walker or a wheelchair.
And it's harder to vacuum when you're older. The vacuum's heavy, but you can sweep with a little dust mop,
And so those
do
are
it easier.
tiny modifications that can make a huge impact
Very good.
on you staying safe and healthy at your home. So you have to think about those things.
You've given me some ideas.
So
Yes.
make sure that you do that for your home, and that way you can stay at home and live there independently and happy and healthy.
Yeah, one of the things that I've learned to stay at home is I've got to carry that phone with me everywhere I go in a pocket. Because if we fall outside and the phone's inside, you can't call anybody. So make sure your phone is in your person, in a pocket or a little.
So I'll tell you, my mom has the pouch, a little pouch that she hangs on her neck. And if she doesn't have the house phone on her, she has the cell phone on her. Only for that reason. If you need something,
Did I say house phone? I meant cell phone.
cell phone, but she does have both. She still has the landline, but she has something that she carries around her neck
that is such a good
because
idea.
I don't want her to ever not be able to reach somewhere to call for help.
And those are good gifts that we can research and give for Christmas and birthdays. To our elders is those little pouches.
Yes.
This is for your phone, Mom, Grandma.
There you go.
Grandpa.
There you go. So we have to think ahead. We have to
Yes.
think ahead. And so lastly, social participation. So I'm going to tell you, when we retire, a lot of people have this thing in their head that I don't have to go anywhere anymore. That's it. I'm done. It's good. But social participation is all about loneliness. COVID was huge. COVID was huge, Miss Mary. there was so much loneliness in our community. You know, people
Yes.
were totally locked in. They couldn't go to church. They couldn't see their family. They couldn't go do what they usually do, coffee with a friend. And so really, I think it can make you sick. We can all get sick from being lonely.
Yes.
And so what do? There's lots of opportunities now, especially after COVID. The Senior Adult Program. They offer so many classes. They're free, anybody 55 and older. And it's all on what you like to do. You want to learn how to cook a little healthier? Guess what? There's a class here at EPCC. You want to be able to dance because you love to dance? There's line dancing. You want to learn how to do Tai Chi because you want to bring your blood pressure down? There's Tai Chi. And then there's the other side. Classes on how to help you stay with technology. You know, your cell phone, the application, your tablets, your computers at home. All of that was so needed during COVID, and people didn't know how to use them. So we have a class that teaches you how to do that.
And what about the class that you teach?
So I do teach a class, and I'm trying to think of a new name for it.
Yep.
And I'm trying to think, and I'm trying to make it seem fun for everybody. But it's a class where getting older doesn't have to be hard. Getting older doesn't have to be hard if you plan and if you learn about things in the community. So my class is all about what if you are a caregiver or what if you have to be cared for? Topics that will come up as we get older. We talk about living wills, last will and testament, being prepared. We talk about resources in the community, how to stay well, positivity. I'm thinking about doing this in the class.
Absolutely.
Having a livable community. But they're topics where I just think that they're important that you learn, and so that you know and you're prepared for whenever a curveball comes your way. And so I'm hoping that I can teach in the fall when I get enough students, and we can get the word out and get people to come in and know that there's a place where you can at least learn something new, keep that brain, exercise that brain, and avoid the loneliness.
And the class can be in person. We have small classes for in-person classes, face-to-face in the classroom. You use your PowerPoint, you invite speakers to come in on particular topics that maybe the seniors want to learn about, an attorney or, you know, those kinds of speakers and presentations. So, gosh, you know, there's no reason why the seniors right now watching say, I want to take Grace's class. I don't care what it's called.
I try to make it fun, and honestly, in the past when I've taught it, at the end I ask, what did you learn? And all of them say, a lot. I'm ready. And that's all I want, for you to say that you learned something and that you're ready to be a senior.
At this time, could we just kind of touch on the titles of the next 4?
Sure. So the last 4 about respect and civic engagement, work and civic engagement, community and information, and then the last one is community and health. All of it is tied to how our community can help us to live better and to be healthy and well. And believe it or not, they're important. So I'm asking everybody to come back. We're going to learn 4 more. They're all tie in together, and with a goal of making sure that together we're a voice. If you can, start talking to your city rep and telling them we need to make our community a little more livable.
Very good. Can we give your phone number where they can contact you at Adult Protective Services if they want to take your class, if they want to learn more about what we're talking about, or about the services that Adult Protective Services
Absolutely. So my
offers?
number is 915-834-5772. You can call me. If I don't answer, I promise I'll call back. Our goal is just to get you more informed. And again, Adult Protective Services, it's not a bad agency. We're here to help. We want to help. If you know of a senior who
Needs help.
needs food, needs their medications paid, are living without utilities, can't get to the doctor, there's a concern for their well-being, report it to APS.
Very good. Thank you so much. And we'll be back with more guests. This was a great topic, and y'all stay tuned, okay?
Here at EPCC, we encourage you to keep wearing your mask and practicing social distance. Please be mindful of others. I take care of you, you take care of me. Let's stay safe. Welcome back, Tejanos. Have a wonderful semester.
thank you for staying with us. This is the last part of our show today, but we have just some interesting guests and interesting information, collaboration between the United States parks and, of course, Mexico, our neighbors to the south. And so we've invited, of course, our famous Gina Hernandez, our representative, park ranger of the Chamizal National Memorial, to be with us today. And Gina, welcome, and thank you for taking time to be here. You brought a guest.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Mary. It's always a pleasure. And yes, I'm super excited. Not only do we have Chamizal National Memorial here, but we have...
well, the Mexican side is going to be Museo de Arquelogía y Historia del Chamizal, the Arqueology and History Museum of El Chamizal.
Very good.
Beautiful
Juarez,
mouthful.
huh?
Parque Chamizal.
But the Chamizal Park.
And it's very exciting to be here together, and we'll explain kind of why we're here together at this point, and hopefully they can become regulars here.
We have
with you as well.
visitors going to Juarez all the time, back and forth. Thank goodness the bridge is open, and now we can go and drop by and see what they have. But tell me a little bit about our local Chamizal. Is the theater open? Are you having activities?
So the theater is still not open at this point. Our programming is still affected partly by COVID and a few other factors, but our visitor center is open every day, so 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And of course the park itself is open. You can talk to park rangers there. We don't have regular programming right now, but if you wanted to go with your family or group and want to speak to the park rangers, we're there and available. And we have been very busy sort of behind the scenes, a lot of maintenance projects and working in our collections and archives, the museum collections, and doing a lot of research for exhibits and other programs. And one very exciting thing is we have been researching for a temporary exhibit that deals with the United States and Mexico during World War II.
Wow.
And there's a lot of history of cooperation there. Many people may not know there were almost 500,000 Mexican Americans in the U.S. that were part of the armed forces during World War II, and also 15,000 Mexican citizens who were part of the U.S. military in World War II.
Wow.
And many other stories of cooperation and collaboration. And so we are about to start some virtual meetings with the public, and we know that there are many local stories, including the men of Company E. There's
From Bowie High School?
From Bowie High School, all from El Paso, all Mexican-American soldiers. And there are some other stories that people may not know as well. There's the Aztec Eagles that were pilots from Mexico that fought in the war. And there is a story that hopefully we can tell about the Benito Juarez Squadron that was part of the Women's Army Corps.
I'll be darned.
And so we've learned a lot, and we know that our community has a lot more information and connections to these stories.
And we want them to, if they have something at home, medals or stories or artifacts, things that can be displayed. And so many people don't know, and I think we just talked about it. Maybe Alejandra will talk. 200 years. Tell me about the 200 years of collaboration between these two countries.
Okay, well, this year is important for, the country and both Chamizals, because we are different, separated by the river, but we are the Chamizal. And this year is the commemoration of the 200 years. Yeah, I was started with that word. With the 200 years of the Mexican-American diplomatic relationship. So it's something important, and we'll try to make something awesome and cool.
Where do I go to see your museum?
Okay, our museum is not as easy to spot as a national memorial, but you cross the Juarez, the Córdoba Americas Bridge, and when you cross, there's going to be an touristic information site and some flags. You turn right on that street, and you go straight up. You keep following the street, and you'll find our museum that's going to be white colored.
Very good, very good. I had to get that in so that our viewers can get over there,
And so I've kind of given an update for Chamizal National Memorial. They have a lot going on as well.
Yeah, like we're inside of a park, so the park activities, always you're going to find families having carne asada, barbecues. But also in our museum, we currently are on the last week of an exposition by Susana. She painted different animals that are endangered. Mostly they're going to be native animals to the region. So we have a bison, we have a ram. And it's going to be the last week that is going to be on the exposition. We will be changing, and we're going to have an inauguration on March 4 of another exposition of art that's going to be plastics. But mostly it's going to be paintings, sculptures, and it's going to be by a collective of 35 to 40 persons. They're still seeing if we can fit a little bit more inside our museum.
And so you have temporary displays or exhibitions, but you also have permanent ones?
Yeah, we have in the museum, it's not only, well, the inside part, we have a garden. It's going to be an archaeological garden with replicas of 33 pieces from the south of the Mexican Republic. You're going to have the Olmec head, the Aztec calendar, well, the sunstone, but we know it as the Aztec calendar.
Yeah, we know it.
And we're also going to be having a replica of a Paquime dwelling. Paquime, it's an archaeological site on Casas Grandes, and we're going to have it life size so that people can come in and they can, well, look around how it was. Also, we have the Inside Expo that are going to be 6 permanent exhibitions.
Were they indigenous?
Yes. The
Yes.
Paquime people were one of the indigenous people of the northern Mexico region, and they're going to be from the Casas Grandes culture, or that's how we know them on this side of the border.
We're going to learn a lot of it. We're going to be educated, by the way, when we visit museums, the National Parks Service museums, and of course Chamizal. And then we're very fortunate to have Chamizals on both sides.
And we're right there close together. So, plan a day of it. Go to Chamizal National Memorial. Go to Parque Chamizal.
Yes.
And when we have visitors from out of town, that we always forget to send them over there. If they're going to visit Ciudad Juarez, they can stop by there. I'm going to have to remember that.
We're so close to each other, and having that border right there sometimes complicates things back and forth. But this year, commemorating the 200th anniversary of diplomatic relations, we are making special effort to, we have collaborated frequently in the past, but we're really making a renewed effort to collaborate in our work. And so get past that barrier of the border right there and work on projects. And so details are in progress, but we have plans to just increase our cooperation.
And are our ambassadors involved in this?
Yes, so last week...
we had the U.S. ambassador in Mexico, Ken Salazar, went to the museum, and we had a guided tour, and we also had a lot of time to talk about future projects, and very exciting.
Very, very exciting. Yes. That Ken Salazar, I understand, is the ambassador to the U.S. ambassador to Mexico.
Yes.
And then
he actually happened to previously be the Secretary of the Department of the Interior, which is, of course, the National Park Service is part of that department. So he's very familiar with national parks and very excited about these two parks working
we have
together.
that support, and
Yes.
I think that's really, really important with our ambassador from Mexico to the U.S. as well. So exciting things that are happening. And for you all, because you had not ever gotten together about seeing how we can have maybe an exhibit starting in Juarez, in the Chamizal, and then maybe bringing it over. What do you think about that?
Our missions overlap, and we have collaborated on several things, but we do want to kind of make a more concerted effort to have an experience that passes from one to the other. So as Jessica Fong, the director of the museum, mentioned in our Spanish interview, it would be really neat to have an exhibit where you start the exhibit in one location and then you finish it in the other. So a very coordinated exhibit experience.
So how can the public help you? How can even the Juarenses and the people from Mexico, from all different regions that know of a soldier that served in the war, they have artifacts or medals or stories, how can they help you? How can our viewers help you?
Definitely by sharing their experiences. We want input, we want opinions and information. So they can email us and we'll provide that email. It's cham_information@nps.gov. or call the park at 915-532-7273 and ask for Gina, and we will get you connected, and hopefully you can be a part of our virtual meetings and planning as we organize this exhibit.
How can the Juarezes also help you and
Well,
people from Mexico?
In case they have some information not only pertaining to your newest project, but also from the Chamizal, they can come to the museum. We're open from Tuesday to Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And on the Sundays, we open at 11, but we close at 5. So they can come in, they can talk with Cesar, that's our historian. They can talk with me, and they can take the items or information, and we'll do our best through the diplomatic channels to turn it over to El Chamizal El Paso, the ones that are pertaining to your site.
And
Nice.
so you do that with a lot of care, inventory, and a lot of so that they can get their things back.
Right, and probably right at this point we may not talk about their objects, but really just their public involvement and planning.
When was the Treaty of the Chamizal signed, and by whom?
1963, and it was signed on behalf of both countries by Thomas Mann and Manuel Tello, and that was in August of 1963.
Can you imagine how long? So the collaboration between two nations, Mexico and the United States, dates back to 200 years?
So the official or formal diplomatic relations, so each country recognizing the other as a country and having diplomatic relations. And so that is, obviously not directly our story. We're a part of that whole history. But to mark that, we're getting kind of the encouragement and the support from the U.S. ambassador and the consulate in Juarez.
Yeah. One last thing I may not have asked that Alejandra Maese would like to say.
Oh, well, I would like to call everyone to come and visit us, both parks. We need our visitors because the time that was closed, it was very sad, and we miss you, all of you, on both Chamizales. And if try to come to an American Chamizal and then come to a Mexican one and see our exposition. We have an exhibit about El Chamizal in our Chamizal, so it can complement or it can dialogate with the ones that you have over there at the National Memorial.
And you also have some fairs outside every so often that other people organize.
Since we're in the middle of a park, a lot of park stuff happens, and that includes on the Sundays, they're making a maker's market. Ooh. So we're going to be local artisans, local artists, local food, and a lot of nice going event.
Very good, and I'm glad that they're doing that for families over there in Juarez. Last message.
Again, same as Alejandra was mentioning, visiting. We are open every day. Again, our programming isn't quite where it was before. We're getting that way, but please come visit us, and we want to hear from you. So your input and these parks and these museums are part of this community and for this community.
Well, thank you for being here, and thank you for watching us on Mature Living. And remember, you can always call and find out more information, but your participation is so important in the planning. So we'll see you all next week, and we'll see you all next time. Okay? See ya.